In this video, we're going to discuss the electronic catalog. We're going to use TransActPOS's Help Center to do that. So if you didn't know, Transact has a Help Center, so you can click it right here. And then we're going to use the search function to search for concept diagram. And we'll select this option here. The electronic catalog diagram is what we're going to look at. So this diagram is going to help us understand what the electronic catalog is and how we add items to it. Now, the electronic catalog is simply a catalog of all the items that a particular vendor carries. So, and there are various ways to provide information to the electronic catalog. So let's take a look here. So how we add particular vendors' information to the electronic catalog. One is automatic vendor communications. Now this would be, we do automatic communications with sort of the larger vendors, your Do It Best of the world, True Value, Oracle, United, and those we do with just electronic communications with those vendors, and those catalogs we can just automatically add. Now another way is to import spreadsheets. These need to be XLS or CSV formats, and the minimum required fields that a catalog has to have to be added into Transact through our utility is the item ID, the description, the UPC code, and the cost and the retail price. Now you may run into a vendor that they say they send you the catalog, it doesn't contain all of that information that was requested. If the catalog does not have a UPC, then they won't be able to auto add the item by scanning, for example, at the point of sale, which we'll talk about here in a bit. Some vendors don't provide the retail price when they provide you with the spreadsheet of their catalog. If that's the case, you'll need to manipulate that data in Excel before you import it into Transact and add a retail price column. The process of adding electronic catalog from a outside vendor via the import function in Transact we will discuss in a separate video. So one thing to note is the electronic catalog is different than your inventory. So the electronic catalog will contain all of the items from a particular vendor. Let's say, Do It Best may have 100,000 items, but your inventory, you may only have 15 to 30,000 items. So the use of this electronic catalog makes adding items from vendors that you don't already have in your inventory a lot easier. So that way you don't have to type everything in by hand. And there are various ways that you can add items from the e-catalog to your inventory. As you can see here, this is an example screen of what an item looks like when you look it up in the electronic catalog. And we will take a look at that in the next video. But here's just the example. As you can see, there's an add item button, and selecting this add item button within the electronic catalog adds that item to your inventory. So that is one way to add items from the e-catalog to your inventory. And there are three others, which we will take a look at now. So again, we're going to use the help file. So let's go back. We're going to look at this diagram, methods of adding inventory from the electronic catalog. The one we just discussed was just manually adding with the add item button. And again, we're going to look at that specifically in the next video. The next is to auto add at the point of sale. So when you scan or type a SKU or UPC at the point of sale, it looks in your inventory file first. And if it doesn't find it there, it looks in your e-catalog. If it finds that particular item in the electronic catalog, it then will auto add that item to your inventory. This only occurs as long as the setting auto add item from e-catalog in POS is checked on the e-catalog screen in company setup. If it's a multi-unit priced item, in order to have the alternate price auto added, you have to check the box that says include alternate price when present and auto adding item. The third method for adding inventory from the e-catalog is auto adding on the purchase order screen. And it's very similar to what happens at the point of sale. When you add an item or scan the UPC code, the system looks to see if the item is in inventory. If it's not there, it looks in the e-catalog to see if it finds it there. If it does, it then gets added to the inventory file and then to the purchase order screen. In order to auto add items in the purchase order, you have to have the checkbox checked on the auto add items and PO on the purchase orders 1 screen in company setup. The fourth method is by using the auto add feature in the wireless unit. The auto add option is found under the auto label button, and by default this button is not active when the application is first started. It's also important to note that the auto add option must be activated every time you log into the wireless menu, but we'll go into this in more detail on a specific video about the handheld device. But just as the other auto add options, this has to be set up in Company Setup on the eCatalog tab, and we have to select the auto add items from eCatalog and POS and TAPDA inventory screen and auto add items in TAPDA.